So this week I had 50 kilos of parts delivered. So we're going to see a lot of videos doing bits and pieces because I've been so stuck for parts I couldn't get on with anything. I've done the 90 bulkhead replacement bar. That worked out really well. Yeah, very impressed with that. But today is something that you wanted to see. Is this door here was an ex-army door. You can always tell the ex-military ones because they had a keyhole here. Well, not so much ex-military, but the very early Defenders too, with the two-piece tops. So what I'm going to do is, I've got some new door skins for it because you probably can't see, but this was painted to high heaven. And when I started to dance a sandblaster across it to see what it was actually like, it's corroded here and here and down here. So, and also it's pretty badly warped. So what we're going to do, we've got some new door skins and we're going to fit them. So first of all, Rocky Raccoon is wandering around. First of all, we're going to take off this capping off here, three pop rivets, and then I'm going to show you how to easily take off the skin without damage. And then it's feeding time for raccoons. That's what it is. I'm going to feed it. I'm going to show you how to take the skin off, sandblast this frame, epoxy prime the frame. I'm not going to galvanise it because the galvanising place is too far away and I haven't got enough quantity to galvanise. That's the problem. So first of all, get that off, get this skin off, sandblast it. We'll have a look inside and then we'll sandblast it. Come on, breakfast. I remove this piece, 3 pop rivets, 3/16. Done. Handle has 3, 4. I need to sharpen my drill. Very careful with the battery. There we go, that's all. 4 pop rivets holding the handle up. Now, the idea about this is not to scrap the skin. We don't really want to scrap it because the skins that I've bought are actually Series 2 or Series 3 door skins. Let me go and get one. Here's a new door skin. Now, what you've got to know about door skins. These are pure aluminium. They are not Burma Bright. They are not the same material as this. They are soft. This is why we're using the bench here, which has got a foam underneath it. It's got a vinyl and then there's foam underneath it, so that when we put this together we're not going to ding and dent it like we would do on a steel bench. You could always use wood, but sometimes I found out if I did it on the big steel bench where I've been doing welding, all you need is a little bit of welding splatter and it'll scratch this and dent this to high heaven. So if you've noticed, there are no pop rivet holes in for the handle. Very important. And another thing that's very important, where is it now? Here. There's no hole for the lock. So what we're going to do, because these were only like, I think they were £16, £16. Well, I could make one I suppose, but it's cheaper to buy one. So we've got to make a template to mark out where the hole's going to be for the door lock. And if we do that, this should line up perfectly. So we'll put that to one side, and the next thing we're going to do, we're going to flip this, and we're going to take the grinder with a 40 grit flat wheel in it, and we're just going to take this edge off this door. We're not going to do the bottom, because it's a waste of time, because well, you watch what I'm doing and you'll see. So, most important, listen, I'm not a very great safety advocate, but dust mask when you're doing grinding aluminium, and then let the dust settle, get out of the way. I've got the doors open just to get the the dust out because it's not very good stuff. So I'm going to put my dust mask on. You won't be able to hear what I'm saying, but I'll mumble a bit. Glasses. I think you get the picture, so I'll be back in a minute when I've got it all ground off. Now, there is a reason why I use the flat wheel instead of a hard grinder. A flat wheel seems to unplug itself from the aluminium metal that gets stuck into a hard grinding disc, whereas if you're using a flat wheel like this, I mean this one's buggered there, I mean these are no good at all, but because it wears out very quickly, it gets rid of the aluminium that plugs up the surface. The other reason why we use a flat wheel instead of prying off the door is A, it's easier, and B, it doesn't damage anything when you're prying. Now I'm going to do this same system when I do the Defender doors, but this is just a quick here and now. So you can see what I've done is I've cut the edge off, and look at the corrosion behind there. There's nothing you can do to stop it, look. Look at the corrosion on the door. You see this? Look at that. So, you know, like I say, you can put all the rust treatments on you want, but if you don't protect it underneath, you're going nowhere. So, how to get the skin off? Well, now, it's just a matter. Oh, I missed some pop rivets, look at that, there's some pop rivets under there. So I'm going to just drill these pop rivets out. I didn't even see them from there. This drill's not very sharp at all, I should get some more. I think this battery's shot. Here's a little tip as well. Whenever I put pop rivets in, the pop rivets that I use are aluminium, or aluminum. So the shank is aluminium and the actual rivet piece itself is aluminium. If you put aluminium rivets in with a steel shank, they make a very nice tight fit, I admit that. But the problem is, that little piece of steel inside goes rusty and it will bleed rust down onto your panel. So aluminium is a very good mix. So, this is the reason why I didn't do the bottom, because all you simply do is push it off. And that, kaput. Now, look, a sight you're all familiar with. I think this is called rust. Now, Land Rover in their infinite wisdom, because I've just seen this, they put holes here, but they put drain holes here. What the hell were they thinking about? So water can get into here and fill this cavity up. Here. Madness. It's like built-in obsolescence. The rest of it isn't too bad, look. Look at this here, look. No prime, nothing, just bare metal. You wonder why they rust out. So what I'm going to do, take off all the sealer that's on here. I'm going to do the other door at the same time. And then I'm going to sandblast these and give them a good old epoxy priming, because the epoxy primer will seal this metal in pretty damn good. And I'm going to degrease this panel and epoxy prime this panel where it touches the steel. Alright? I'm not going to do it all. Well, I might be tempted to, depends, because I don't want to waste too much paint. Because I might do an epoxy paint at the final coat when I put this on the stand. I've got a stand to put these on to paint, so I think I'll just concentrate do these areas around here, and then when I come to do the final coat, a good epoxy prime for both sides on the frame will sort that out. So let me get the other door done, and then it's sandblast time. Just to save sandblasting time, I went round with a flat disc again, and I ground off all the hard mastic that was on this panel. The reason why I grind it off, because it comes off like a powder, which you can tell in here because it's all full of dust. But when you sandblast mastic or sealer, what it does is the sand will actually, well, I say sand, it's actually glass, ground glass. But what it actually does is it bounces off the mastic. Now you will eventually get it off by sort of going underneath it rather than at 90 degrees. The action of the sand hitting the mastic will soften it and it make it even worse. However, if you attack it quickly with the sand with the flap wheel, you can actually break it off and it comes off. So that's going to be a lot less work for sandblasting. I mean, if you want, there's nothing to stop you grinding out all this rust here with the flap wheel and then just having a very quick going over. But some bits are quite difficult to do, like these bits here with a wire brush or whatever. I used to do that years ago, but the sandblaster makes an awful better job. So the next thing is get the other door ready. Right, once you've got your skins off, rough dressed up, what we do usually if we do a pair of doors, especially at the bottom, is I know that this door skin was particularly badly damaged. Here, it had a crease in it. Now, looks like it's been left open and somebody's banged it. That's not a problem. What I've done is I've just hammered it back out again, but just to double check, I put them on the bench, back to back, like so, and I just make sure that the gaps are parallel. You know, it's all nice. They're not twisted, in other words. Well, I'm kind of lucky with these. There's no twists in them at all. I'm just going to knock this one here down a bit more because it wants to go in a bit. So again, I put it on the bench. I get a soft hammer, and I'm just going to give it a beat down. Because you see, once the skin's on, that's it. And it'll cause a bulge in the skin. We don't want that. So, I'm happy with that. So the next stage is, we sandblast those. But the next thing I'm going to do whilst I'm set up here, clean off the desk, the bench. And we're going to mark out the hole for the handle. For the lock, sorry. Marking out the hole for the door lock on the skin couldn't be easier. All we do is use the opposite side skin, right? So you can see the curve goes downwards on this one, the curve comes up on this one. And then using a scriber, well, if you haven't got a scriber, you know when you get a drill set and it's got thousands of little drills in like this that you never use because they won't fit in your chuck? Sharpen them up on your grinder, they make an excellent scriber. And if you lose them, it's no big deal. So square it all up. This is really important. Square up the skin, make sure it's perfect there, because you see sometimes the holes in the handles aren't really in the right place. It's really annoying sometimes. Even this one I'm looking at thinking, well, I don't think that's going to fit. So, because I'm not sure it's going to fit, I'm going to draw the hole here. But I'm not going to cut it out to the full size. The reason for that is I'm going to see, look, See, this is it. I've lined it up and it's not in the right place. Can you see that? You can probably see the outline of my scribing. Well, that's going to be interesting. What a lot of fun. So, do we go off the handle? Because you see, if we go off the handle hole, it's going to be miles out. Yet the skin's not going to fit. So all I'm going to do is do a rough hole, average the two out, put a starter hole in, and then I'm going to die grind it very gradually by putting the lock in. I'm going to assemble everything, put the lock in before it's all painted. Yeah, a bit disappointing, but this is what you get with jobber parts. Don't always line up, do they? So but that's a good tip. If it was if you're marking things out, use the opposite side as a template. I've noticed too on the original. Well, let's zoom out here. On the original door skin here, the handle folds back, and this is just stamped through. Wait a minute. This one here is just stamped through. So whether it's in the right place or not, I do not know. Time will tell. So it's heating up now, so I have to take my jacket off. Now we've got the frames all sandblasted. They came out like new, look. Now, once they're painted, we're going to turn them upside down and absolutely fill them full of, well, not fill them full, but really give them a good rust proofing inside with a liquid based rust proofing. Something like Dynatrol. We have a similar product over here, but not wax oil. Sorry, gone in my books. Wax oil has actually phoned me up. I had some wax oil many years ago. I had loads and gallons of it. You know, when it was Finnegan's wax oil. And they rang me up to tell me I couldn't sell it because I didn't have a license. You know, I wasn't an official seller. They wanted me to buy it off them twice as much as it was to buy it from the shop in my hometown. Crazy, eh? Crazy old one. So what I want to show you now, I'm using my parts washer acetone type stuff in a bottle, and I'm going to degrease this panel. Now this stuff evaporates really quick, so just do it sort of half at a time, and we're going to take off all that gunge because this has had a protective paper on here. See? Look at that muck. Look at the muck in here. And I don't know if you can see, sand just gets everywhere. It is a bugger. When I spray the acetone on, I notice I fold the papers over, you know, so you're not wasting your paper. You'll probably notice, well, I can see it here. When the acetone evaporates, it leaves a film on it. Well, not a film, but it goes sort of white. And that is because it's got water in it. It's mixed up with water. See, look at all the dirt coming off it. Can you see that? And, you know, this is why, this is one of the reasons why you don't use gun cleaner for thinners or a diluent when you're doing painting. You must use the proper thinner, because if not, it's horrible stuff to work with. So just there's a top tip. When you're doing painting, like when we used to do cellulose painting, some of the cars we used, cheap cars, we just used to use gun washers, thinners. But, well, the finish wasn't all that good. was alright, but you had to work at it. The reason why I'm cleaning this off as cleanly as I can is to get the grease off, because I'm not going to sandblast this. If I sandblasted it, I'd ruin it, because it's just pure aluminium. There's no hardness in the metal. So what's going to happen is that it'll stretch. We don't want that. You see, you can keep rubbing and rubbing it. And you'll see the dirt still come. Look at it. I know it's aluminium, but even so, we want to get all that dirt out, because we don't want to paint on top of grease. Now the next thing I'm going to do, obviously I'm not going to prime all this panel yet. I'm going to prime the parts that's touching, all right, and then I'm going to paint the whole of the frame and the parts that are touching. Then when I come to do the other side on the stand, because I'm going to stand these up sort of vertical, then I'm going to prime them both so that they're not rubbing on the surface of here, because again, look, you see sand is everywhere. Now you can see, look at the grease on here, look. And if you can see, look, you see it's all greasy. There, look. Can't paint on that. Paint on that though. So, just as a little tipette, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put the door skin on like that, fits where it touches. I think these are made by PWB in England. And just rough round the areas where you want to paint. Makes sense, eh? So you want to paint on these bits. Alright. They sit down there. So that's the only bits I'm going to paint, and paint the frames. So it's a beautiful day today, so they're going to dry really quick. So hopefully this afternoon I can put some sealer on these and clinch them over, and then that job's done. Hey, that would be good, wouldn't it? A video done in a day. Right, let's see what happens after painting.